And we are live. Good evening, everyone.
Hey, Janie, there was a little bit of reverb. Sorry about that. We're just waiting for Janie to come back. Hi, guys. Welcome. This is RioPolitics Live with your hosts, Roman, Manny, and Josh today. And we have a wonderful guest for you today. Her name is Janie Lopez. I don't know. Do you all go by Janie or Jane? I'm seeing Janie, but I've seen Jane as well. Which is it, Janie?
Janie.
Janie. All right. Janie Lopez. She is a candidate for San Benito School Board Trustee. And this is RioPolitics Live. We are so happy to have you, Janie. Thank you for coming on the program. Introduce yourself.
Thank you for inviting me. It's my pleasure to be here with you all tonight. I've watched your show several times already, and they're very interesting. And I'm glad that y'all are doing this for the community because you're bringing awareness to the community here. So that way they can have a good view of what candidates stand for, what they represent, and they can decide who the best candidate is for them when they go to the polling box. And I know that sometimes for me, it's hard to decide when all I know is a name, you know, and so I'm glad that your organization is doing this.
Yeah, thanks. And we have Josh Peltier. He is with the Cameron County Conservatives Facebook page. Hey, Josh, we can't really see you with the banner, but you're there. Don't worry. You're not.
Is that better? Can you see me now?
Josh, how are you doing, Josh?
I'm doing well tonight. How are you, sir?
Doing good. Is it raining over in Harlingen right now? I should have asked you.
It was earlier today. I don't think it is right now, but with that hurricane on the Gulf, we'll probably get some more here shortly. So
yeah, and at some point we will be talking about this hurricane. It's out, not hurricane. It's a depression, potential
depression, but
hurricane. I don't want to scare anybody, but definitely RioPolitics here to. We're going to try to have some good guests early next week, maybe to talk about hurricane preparedness, just in case we don't know what's going to happen with that thing. I have a good friend of mine who's really into weather who might be able to join us over the weekend. Manny, how are you doing, Manny?
Good, doing good. Trying to stay cool. Enjoying this rainy weather.
Yeah, we had a little bit of technical issue earlier. I just want to make sure we want to make sure that you have an opportunity to like and share our Facebook page. So that's why we have the music on to begin with Janie Lopez. So you have an opportunity to come on board, like and share our Facebook page. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can watch it there as well. Manny will be able to post at least the link at some point of the live stream on YouTube. If you have a Google account, you have a YouTube account, please subscribe. Help us reach out, because what RioPolitics Live is about, just like Janie said, is about helping candidates and office holders and our community be informed. We are nonpartisan. We want Democrats, Republicans, Independents, Vegetarians, I don't care, to come on and talk to people, especially with this coronavirus and being around. It's very difficult for candidates like yourself, Janie, to go out in public because people may not want to open the doors to you. So since you're running for office, how has that been going with coronavirus in San Benito, and how are our voters being receptive to your message in San Benito?
Right. We've been taking all the necessary precautions when it comes to campaigning for this, and just recently, we started just placing flyers at people's homes. Before COVID, we were knocking on people's doors and talking to them. So now we're basically just leaving the flyers, and hopefully they'll read them and they make it out to the polling boxes. So that's a big difference for us compared to before coronavirus. However, we're still being able to communicate through telephone and friends and family, and we're able to make phone calls, so that way we can get their support as well.
Cool. Has anybody in your family, any friends, not received, but had coronavirus? What is that noise?
Unfortunately, yes. I had somebody in my family recently pass away from coronavirus, and several of my friends have had relatives as well that have been infected by it. So, this disease or this virus is serious, and so that's why it is important to take the necessary precautions. But it doesn't mean that we have to live in fear either. I think that at some point we have to move on with our lives as well, but still taking the necessary precautions.
Do you by any chance, since you're running for a school board, do you have any opinion as to how the school board in San Benito is handling coronavirus? Whether the parents want to go back to school, or how's the virtual going? Do you have any comments on that?
Right. Right now, from what I'm hearing from parents, is they'd rather that their children stay home. I know that with the children, it's different. I talked to several kids, teenagers, elementary kids, and they want to go back to school. They're ready, And myself, as a mental health counselor, I see how it's affected people, whether you're the elderly or whether your kids in school, and it's really affected people, and it caused more anxiety and depression. And so there is a concern with the mental health aspect of it.
Yeah. How is your superintendent handling the situation with, correct me if I'm wrong, but San Benito is right now going virtually, right? Everybody's virtual. Nobody's on campuses. How is your superintendent, your school board handling going back to school? It's going to be a rollout going back to school, go little by little? Because I know here in Brownsville, for example, where I live, there's going to be some people going back to school on campus very soon based off the superintendent's recommendations. Is that what's happening in San Benito as well?
I saw that article from Brownsville, and I thought that was interesting. In San Benito, pretty much the last I heard was everybody's staying home. Parents, are keeping their kids home, and the employees are working from home, except for some employees that need to be in the district. Let's say, for example, like the food service people that are preparing lunches for kids, and some bus drivers are delivering the food for kids as well.
Mm-hmm. Do you consider yourself a change candidate? Like you're going to bucking the system, you want to run, and because you want to change things, give a fresh perspective. Why exactly are you running?
Well, there's a lot of reasons of why I decided to run. I'm basically the type of person that would just keep to myself and do my job, go to work, and I have 12 years plus of experience working in the school districts. I've worked at different districts, and I've gained a lot of experience. I worked as a teacher, I worked as a counselor, and the last 4 years that I was at the school district in San Benito, I worked as a counseling director, and I handled all the crises that occurred, and we brought down disciplinary referrals by 66% by working with kids and administrators, staff, so we could improve student behavior in the campuses. And so with that experience that I had, when recently, this past year, when one of the board members was arrested for possible DWI, I started hearing comments from the community stating that this was improper for this person to be in office and still be there in front of the kids, giving presentations and being a role model there. And so community members started speaking up about that, and there was concerns, and we heard employees saying, hey, if that was me, I would have gotten fired already. And kids saying, why is that person there in office? Aren't there consequences for behavior? And me, myself, being a big advocate for positive behavior, character development, that was something that really impacted me when I started hearing kids asking those questions. And when they started asking those questions, I started asking too, why is this person still there when there was previous accusations of other stuff against this board member? So it wasn't the only incident, but there were other accusations. And so I started speaking up, and community members started reaching out to me. And then a group of us decided to take this to the court system because the school district wasn't taking action. And according to Texas law and educator policies, and I can get that policy right now, but we as citizens, we vote for people. We put them in office. And just like that, if there is a violation, then we can petition to have them removed as well. And so that's what happened in this incident, that we petitioned to the court to have this board member removed. And the judge basically followed the law. He interpreted the law as it was written, and he decided to remove the board member. And I'm looking at Texas Local Government Code 87.015. It says a proceeding for the removal of a board member is begun by filing a written petition for removal in district court of the county in which the board member resides. A resident of the state who has lived for at least 6 months in the county in which the petition is to be filed and who is not currently under indictment in the county may file a petition. Reasons for removal, the one that we selected was intoxication on or off duty caused by drinking an alcoholic beverage. So that's what was used in the courts, and the judge decided to go ahead and remove him. However, he gave him a couple of weeks so that the people could submit their applications for this position after he was removed. And so within that time frame, the board member ended up stepping down. And after that, people started coming to me with more concerns that they were seeing in the district, employees that were afraid to lose their jobs, or they felt that they were retaliated against, and just a lot of different concerns from the community, like businesses saying that they weren't getting a fair share when they were placing bids. And a lot of the business that our district has right now is coming from Hidalgo County. And so to me, those were concerns that I felt were important that these people had. And the board members started changing policies so that way they wouldn't hear the people's voice anymore. So they were very restrictive on what you can speak about at public comment, and public comment before was not as restrictive. So they changed it to where you had to have a child in the district if you were going to speak about kids. You had to, so you couldn't just advocate as a community member for kids. Let's say you saw something going wrong happening at a school or something. Well, if there wasn't your kid, you couldn't take it to public comment, And so they were starting to limit what
they don't care if you're a taxpayer, and they don't care any about that. And so if you run for, one of the things you'll do is you'll revert back to hearing from the public. That's what you want. That's one of the things you want to do. And I'm sorry to interrupt. I just want to make sure that we are able. I want to talk about that particular case a little bit, but more about your issues, and maybe at some point we'll further talk about that. Who are you, Janie? I should have asked you that in the beginning. Who are you?
Yes. So that was the main thing, the concerns that community members were bringing up.
So Janie, you said you're a counselor, you have experience in the school system. So you understand kids, so you're passionate, you're a passionate a woman when it comes to issues that nobody else was talking about, you and your group of people. Do you feel that your experience is the best experience in your particular race? Obviously, we're not here to talk bad about your opponent. You already know that, but just so everybody knows, we're not here to attack your opponent. If your opponent wants to come on the show, he's more than welcome to contact Manny. Don't contact me, contact Manny up there. And we'll be happy to have you on the show if you'd like to come on. Does your experience, your background, is that better do you think, for the voters in San Benito CISD?
My experience first started with myself being a student in the school district. So I graduated from the San Benito CISD in 1997. I started off as a bilingual student. My parents were immigrants, and I knew nothing but Spanish when I started the school. So I was a struggling student, ESL student, and progressed within time with all the help from the teachers. And I was able to graduate in 97. And so as a personal experience, as a struggling student, I feel that we can help any student be successful as well. And like I said, with my experience as a teacher, the years that I taught, I had a 98% passing rate in the STAR exams, and I was a newbie, and so it helped that I had learned how to use data to be able to analyze my students and know how to best help them and know how to use the right tools that were going to help my students be successful. I became a counselor because I felt that there was more to students in addition to the academic part. I saw that a lot of kids were coming with problems. We're coming with anger issues. We're coming with emotional issues, social issues, And so that's why I became a counselor, because I said I want to be able to help them in a different way as well. And so with that experience, and then with the experience as a director of the counseling program, I managed $1.2 million for the school district using federal funds. And with that, I made sure that I followed policies and I followed all the federal regulations that were involved, as well, working together with the business office, making sure that we were in compliance with using our funds as well. And so I do feel that I have the adequate experience to be in this position. And as well, I earned my college degrees. I got my bachelor's in business administration and my master's in business administration when I never thought that I would be able to do that. And I say that because nobody in my family had ever graduated from college. So I was the first one to go to college. When I actually went to the college, I said, I want to enroll in college because I was thinking, I got to help my family financially. And I said, I want to take classes, right? And they were like, well, what do you want to study? What degree program? And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, and they kind of just laughed at me. And so they helped me out and started, I went to college, got my bachelor's, master's, and then I pursued my master's in counseling as well.
Cool.
And I ended up with a principal certification.
Mm-hmm. Sorry. I thought
Josh,
Josh, are you going to ask your question? I don't know if you're able to see it. Josh, are you seeing the private chat where we're able to tell you to? I guess not.
Yeah, but no, I can ask a question.
Yes, please.
So let's get specific to San Benito, Janie. What is something that you see that's not happening in the district that maybe you see happening in another district that you would like to implement in San Benito as a board member?
Well, I'd really have to be in the district already to be able to do a needs assessment and see what exactly is going on. I feel that right now I'm kind of on the outside and all I see is what's being posted on news articles or through communication with certain people from the school district. But one of the things that I feel is very important is taking care of our employees. These employees dedicate their life to the school system and the school district. And I think that it's important to take care of employees that are following policies, employees that are doing their best to do a good job and that have passion and that care about kids and they want to do well for our school district. I see a lot of people leaving our school district where I see people that, have told me that they felt that they had to leave the school district. And I think that that's very important, making sure that we take care of our school district employees. And another thing is our students. I see other school districts, they have certain programs for students, and I feel that we have a lot of great programs in San Benito CISD, but I also see room for improvement as well. And as well, treating our programs that we have as best as we can, treating them fairly as well, making sure that all policies are being followed also for our special populations, our gifted and talented students, our special education students. Students are important. We got to take care of our community. And it's sad to see kids leaving our district. We've already lost, let's say since 2011, we've lost more than 1,000 students. And so every year we lose students, and every year that we lose students, that's about $2 million that our school district loses also. So to me, we got to take care of our own people, and our own people should not be leaving. They should not be going to other cities or other districts.
Are they leaving there in San Benito to charter school? Are you losing them? Are you losing them to just moving away? Are you losing them to open enrollment? What is the reasoning behind you losing 1,000 students, which is a lot for a small community like San Benito?
There are various reasons. Some of them do leave to charter schools. Others are leaving to other districts. I mean, some kids are going to right next door,
Yeah.
when they live in our city.
Wow. So one of the things you want to work on would be retention? Then definitely retention is a major issue for you as a school board member. How do you feel about teacher retaliation? Teachers, at least in my community, teachers, there's associations, there's several of them that they belong to, and they live in fear of being retaliated because, well, they see something the administrator on their campus is doing, and so they don't want to get that retaliation. Is that the same thing? And it happens throughout the state of Texas, not just in Brownsville, obviously. Is that happening also in San Benito? And would you protect teachers from getting that retaliation?
Well, I don't know the facts, as to what is happening in San Benito, but I can tell you what I've heard from various employees is that they do feel like they're being retaliated against. And there is something factual. There was something that was sent out this past year from the school district, and it was released to the employees, letting them know that if they have any concerns, that they need to that they should not go out and speak to the board members, and so they were limiting their voice. And at that point, that, to me, in my opinion, it was a form of intimidation.
Yeah, no, and intimidation is wrong. The idea of a school board is to have oversight of the administration. That makes sense. That's how the system of government is done in our state. But at the same time, if you're a teacher and you feel, you're seeing something, you want to voice your concern, it's not that you're reporting it and you're not going out of the chain of command by talking to the school board. A school board member is elected to be and has an obligation to protect the interest of the community and the interest of the school district. And if there's wrongdoing being done in San Benito, then a teacher and his teacher sees it, they have a duty themselves to report it somehow. And so I'm glad that you support that. Is there, one of the things I like to ask is not necessarily do you have a pet project, but is there a particular interest that you have that as a school board member you would do? Some people want to go in because they care about athletics, or they care about special needs, or they care about growing enrollment or whatever. What is the one sort of pet project or pet issue you would have that this is what Janie's going to fight for in the school board and going to accomplish as a school board member?
Right. Okay. And so I think that one of the biggest things right now is making sure that we're following the policies that are in place. And I know that there's been a lot of changes in policies. And so policies can affect anybody. Policies affect employees. Policies affect how you're handling student matters. It can affect how you're handling finances. So I think that one of the things is making sure that we are being fair to everybody, and that we are in compliance with our own policies and standards that we have in place. And with the finances, we have a $40 million bond with some projects going on right now, some buildings. And I think that, making sure that that money is being used fairly, wisely, not fairly, but wisely, and that we're in compliance with any regulations, that's going to be important. Recently, there was a water line that busted. It got busted by one of the contractors that was working on one of the buildings. And San Benito City lost about 1 million gallons of water. And so I think that if we have a company that's overseeing these engineering projects, then how is it that they busted a water line?
And that was actually going to be my next question for you. Is I'm somewhat familiar with the $40 million bond that you all have. How is it coming along? How do you feel that it's being implemented properly right now in the school board? And if it isn't, what would you do differently?
Well, right now, they started some of the buildings, some of the preparations for our buildings already, and it's being managed by a company, and that company automatically gets $50,000 a month. And so all I can say is I hope that they are being wise about how they're doing things, and that we end up with a good project in our hands, and that it's something that the community will benefit and that the kids will be able to use.
I think it's important that people that are running for office be transparent in their finances and how they're raising money. How are you raising money? Is there? I know at Brownsville and some other bigger school districts, what they'll do is post their campaign finance reports online so that everybody can see it. What is your position on posting? Campaign finance. Reports online, and exactly how are you raising money, and how is that coming along for you as a candidate?
I have a grassroots campaign. Originally, I started with selling enchilada plate tickets, and that helped raise a lot of money. And then we have different people that have donated as well. But the money that I'm raising, it's coming from our community members, and they are being very supportive of us. People were helping left and right to sell tickets as well. And so that has helped out the campaign. And yeah. I agree with you with funds and campaign funds. We really have to be transparent. And just recently, the opposition, I'm not going to say my opponent, but the opposition, the people that are in office right now, they had a fundraiser that ranged from $1,000 to $5,000. And, I don't think too many of our community members were contributing to that. It was more of the businesses.
So would you be in support, right? Does the San Benito ISD allow your campaign finance? Because for those of you who are not familiar with campaign finance laws, because you, Janie, are running for school board, your filing authority for your campaign finance reports that you must turn in. You must turn them in semi-annually. If you're a campaigner, in a campaign or an office holder, semi-annually. But if you're in the middle of a campaign, as you are, Janie, you are required by law to submit campaign finance reports 30 days and 8 days before the election. And your filing authority in this case would be San Benito CISD, because they're the ones governing this particular election. Does San Benito have them available online for anybody to see? Because I'd love to see your opponent's campaign finance report to see how much money he's getting and how much money he's really getting from San Benito residents, and not necessarily from vendors outside the district who just want to get their hands on a lot of money that is in the school district.
That information, because right now, not even the finances are available online. I know some community members that have some complaints about that they're not able to see some of that information, and it takes a while for you to get information when you request records. But right now, as far as I know, that's the only way to be able to obtain any information. That's by requesting records.
Yeah, and as school board member, you can set policy and you can implement policy that says all campaign finance reports for campaign candidates will be made available. You just do that, Janie. And I would highly recommend you to do that and support that. Would you support that? As we come, especially now, to post them online as a school board member, make policy for CISD that all candidates and office holders, your campaign finance report be put online, because they're not being put online right now. You would support that?
Right. I would support it. Yes, of course, it takes a vote. But I would be open to supporting that, and just being open with the community. The community needs to see that we can be honest with them, that we have nothing to hide. And that's another concern that I had. You know, when I would go to board meetings, they would focus a lot on the positive, but not on the improvements that needed to be made. And like I said, I've worked in other districts, and other districts give it to you straight out. This is where we're lacking. This is what needs to be improved. You know, and so they were very open with community members, and I feel that needs to be improved also.
Transparency is great, and just for clarity, when I say that vendors out there trying to get their hands on money, I mean more. They get contracts. Vendors get contracts. They go and apply for it, and they get to be able to provide a service for the community and service for San Benito. But vendors are famous for donating to candidates and trying to the lion's share of their campaign finance reports will show people that are vendors for that school district. And whether that's good or bad, that's for you to decide, not necessarily for me to decide. But my personal opinion is I don't like vendors giving you candidates money. And so I'm proud of you, Janie, for being a grassroots candidate. And I wish you the best of luck on that, because it's very difficult doing that. And at this time, I'm going to do what I like to call rapid fire questions. Well,
okay.
2-minute rapid fire questions sponsored by the Second Amendment. That's just supposed to be cute. These are questions that are any kind of questions, random questions that I've created. I have created them, so blame me if you don't like them. For you, Janie, to answer. Answer them how you want. No, be scared. Okay. All right. You ready?
Okay.
Awesome. All right. San Benito purple or San Benito gold?
Purple.
Which you like? Purple. All right. Cool.
Purple is a peaceful color. You know.
Yeah. I like
if you smell lavender relaxes your body. You know, you got problem sleeping, get yourself some lavender oil. So yeah, purple.
Favorite barbecue place in San Benito, Longhorn or Smokehouse? There's a Smokehouse. Smokehouse. You like what is it about Smokehouse that people really like? I haven't gone to Smokehouse.
The buffet.
Huh?
The buffet.
The buffet. It's really good. You like it? All right. What's your favorite buffet item at Smokehouse?
The prices are good too. You know.
Yeah. The pork ribs.
I mean, Longhorn is.
Josh, this is not your question. It's her question.
Longhorn is delicious also. You know, I can't say anything bad about Longhorn, but to take the whole family, we've been there a few times to the Smokehouse. We took the whole family. We spent some time there. And but I can say my favorite, though, that Smokehouse doesn't have is the vanilla wafer pudding.
Yeah, the banana pudding. Yes, that's so good. You know what? Honestly, when I go to Longhorn, my favorite is the turtle cheesecake. But oh gosh, like it's really good. But that banana pudding is delicious. Okay, next question. This is a weird question. If a tree fell in the woods and no one was around to see it, did it make a sound? Yes or no? Yes or no?
If nobody was there to hear it, did it make a sound?
Yes or no?
Well, yes, I would think so.
Okay, yeah. It's just one of those weird questions. Since you were in counseling, you know, I figured, you know, kind of cool question. All right, Narciso Martinez or Freddie Fender?
Freddie Fender.
Cool.
He's like
all right.
Water tower.
Yeah. Okay. This is a weird question. This is Zach Cantu from KRV. He's a good friend of the show. Watches us all the time. I don't think he's watching us. You would have seen a comment from him at some point tonight, but he usually watches the show. His question is a sponsored question from Zach Cantu. Cake or pie? Cake or pie?
Cake.
Cake. All right. This is the second question. He likes us asking this question. The left Twix or the right Twix? Well, yeah.
The right.
The right Twix. All right, cool.
So first one that comes up, the right one.
Yeah.
There you go. That is rapid. There's 2 minutes, right, Manny?
Yep.
Yep, there you go. 2 minute. There you go. Congratulations. You have successfully passed through the gauntlet of the 2 minute rapid fire questions. Hope you had fun. I know I do. I love this stuff because you get to really like, whoa, what is that question coming from? All right,
Yeah.
Manny, you usually get the first question after we do rapid fires. So what's your question, Manny?
Yeah. So is this your first time campaigning?
It is. It is. And
So this year is a very non-traditional campaigning kind of a season because of COVID. Would you have liked to knock on doors and have the meet and greets with a crowd of people and all that? Or are you comfortable with this virtual kind of system that most people have to do right now?
I would have preferred to meet with people and talk to them and get to know them, because as you're meeting people, you get to know what they like about the district and what they don't like. And so I think that that's important for needs assessments. You know, a lot of times we don't get to hear from the community out there. It's usually just people in the district that we hear on needs assessments. And so to me, I think it's important to be able to talk to others and to be able to meet and build those relationships with people. Some of the things that some people that I spoke to on the phone, they tell me, well, I don't care about politicians anymore. I used to get involved, but not anymore because politicians forget about us after we help them, you know? And so that's not something that I want. I want people to know that they're important and we're here to take care of them. We're here to take care of the taxpayers and our students and our employees.
Right. Agreed.
Josh, you have a question?
Yes. Kind of a softball question, Janie. Since you grew up in San Benito ISD, what was your favorite lunch food?
My favorite lunch food?
Yeah, that they provided in the cafeteria.
You read my rapid fire questions because I was on it, but I figured we were already getting 2 minutes.
I think it was like the apple crumble or something. It was like a dessert that had like breading on it and it had apple. I don't remember what they called it.
Would you bring that back if they don't have it anymore?
Yes, that and the pizza was different before. I don't know about now. I mean, I've tried it at different districts and pizza just doesn't taste the same anymore.
Didn't taste the same anymore?
Yeah, the rectangle pizza that we all love when we were growing up. I love that rectangle.
Square pizza slices.
Square
Yeah.
pizza. Interesting.
Yeah,
That's a unique taste.
You know, one of the things that one of our school board candidates a few years back, he would like to go to the schools and actually eat the lunch to see how the food services. Would you be willing to do something like that as a school board, either if you're not able to do it as a candidate right now because no one's eating at home, they're not eating it there on campus. Would you be willing to do something like that so you can taste the quality that your students in San Benito are eating? The quality of food.
Oh yes, of course. I mean, even when I worked in the school districts, I would buy my lunch there, you know. So I don't have a problem trying out the food there. And I think that we need to find out how good it is and what's good and what needs improvement, so that way we can get kids to get their meals. Because I know a lot of times kids don't like to eat; they'd rather hang out with their friends. But maybe if we can entice them a little bit more, you know, then maybe we can get them to eat, more kids to eat.
One of the saddest things to see in the Valley and throughout the country is poor children not being able to have access to proper internet. And so you've seen the viral picture of these two students outside of a Taco Bell using it and sitting on the floor, and quite frankly, it broke my heart. And to see that, what do you think as a school board should be doing right now? Because I feel you would do something differently than what they're doing. What would you do to make sure that the poor children in San Benito are able to have virtual learning so they're not out in the heat on the asphalt sitting down trying to get access to Wi-Fi?
Right. Yes. I mean, as it is, we have an at-risk population. And so I think that making sure that they have the proper materials to be able to do their assignments is very important. So I'm not sure. I believe that San Benito had posted something about providing like hotspots for them, or they have mentioned having the buses provide some internet access for the kids. And so it's like you said, if that was the case, then kids would be right outside a bus, you know, and lately it's been raining. So why would we want the kids outside if that is happening? You know, I haven't seen it myself, but that's what I know was going to be proposed. And so getting them the hotspots, I know a school district bought one for every single child, and getting them a laptop as well so they could be able to use at home, because them sharing laptops or computers at home, that's not going to work, especially when you're meeting with your teachers every day. And if you have 3 or 4 siblings at home that are having to meet with their teachers also, one computer at home is not enough. And we live in a community where a big population is earning less than 12,000 a year, and so parents are barely making it. Parents are barely making it to pay for their necessities. And then if we put on another burden on them, then that's difficult for the kids. And the only ones that we hurt are the kids. So we need to make sure that we are providing them with the proper tools, even if it means lending them the desks and not selling them.
Yeah. How will you support teachers and personnel, the frontline staffers in San Benito, in the school district? How will you support them as a school board member?
I guess going back to when I was a teacher, making sure that I was aware of what exactly was expected of me, and making sure that I was kept in the loop and not have to be waiting to the last moment to try to implement something. I think that we need to let teachers be able to prepare with time, so they can gather their resources that they're going to use, so that way they can be able to teach the kids, and providing them with the tools that they need as well, providing any trainings that are needed for the teachers, and hearing their concerns, what's going good and what's going wrong, what's going bad, what's not helping you, what can we do to improve. So I think that as board members, we need to be able to hear from the people on the front lines also, as well as the administrators.
This has come up here in the Valley. We had a teacher in Roma that was offended because parents didn't like what was on her screen. So in response to that, some school superintendents in the Valley said they wanted parents not to be able to be in that room with their child as they're on their computer, that they would essentially be visitors of the school district to get permission. They need permission from the principal to be visitors in the classroom. What is your opinion on whether or not parents should be around their child while virtual learning is being done in San Benito School District?
Well, that's a good question. And I think that, this coronavirus thing is new to everybody. So along the way, they're going to be going and making policy changes and implementing new changes and so forth. In my opinion, if a parent, and I'll give you an example. I had a parent that said, I have 3 little ones, a pre-K, kindergarten, and a first grader. So I sit them down in the same room and I help the 3 of them as they're going through this process, right? Now, some parents are very tech savvy, some are not. Some kids are tech savvy, some are not, okay? And so in doing this online learning, I think that parents should be able to get involved with their kids. I mean, what are we gonna do? Let the child sit there by themselves all day? If the child doesn't know how to go from one page to another page, or how to use Google Classroom or so forth, right? And I mean, I do virtual counseling with people also, and sometimes I have to teach them how to use these programs, and so I could see how some of the parents could have difficulties as well. And so I think that parents should be allowed to, but always with limitations also, right? I mean, hey, if you're a parent and you're helping your child, please make sure that if you're a man or whatever, make sure you're wearing a shirt, I mean, there are limitations as well. And I could understand the other side too, where it's like, if I'm a parent and I have my child with online learning, I wouldn't want maybe somebody else seeing my child online. But again, I mean, we're dealing with something that is unprecedented, and I don't think that there's like a right answer. And I think that these are things that we have to adapt and come up, brainstorm together as a team, because I might have an idea, but other people might have other ideas on how to do things. And so I think that working together as a team with board members, superintendent, staff, community members, I think that we'll come up with the right answers.
Have you seen in San Benito? I want to go back a little bit to the coronavirus, because that is, the big. I feel it's a big topic of the day, of the year, obviously. Are you seeing students, maybe from your counseling background or from what you've heard from parents? Do you feel that students they feel antsy, the anxiety for students with either potentially going back to school in person or not going back, and how that's affecting children? Do you have any comment on that?
Oh, yes. And like I said earlier, kids are anxious to go back. I mean, they're excited to go back, but they're also scared. So I think that there's some mixed emotions there. And parents are scared. They're worried that their child might get sick. But at the same time, some students are struggling. They say, I'm not a good virtual learner. I don't know time management. In the classroom, the teacher used to do all the time management for them. And now they're kind of just doing things on their own. And so some students are struggling with that. Simple things that we take for granted, letting kids know, hey, maybe use a calendar, write down the assignments that are going to be due, because now your teacher doesn't have it on the board to be reminding you every day, right? And now you have 7 or 8 classes that you have to be looking at, and different calendars that the teachers post through Google Docs or whatever. And so that can become confusing to the kids. And so teaching them organization skills is important right now also, because some kids are getting stressed about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's happening everywhere. Honestly, it's just unfortunate it is happening. And one of the concerns as a parent I have is, in some instances, they want the students to be, in some school districts, you got to be in the virtual, on the camera, from the beginning of class to the end of class. And so that means they're on that computer looking at it all day long. And then teachers will give them excessive homework that they're on the computer till 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. And so you're talking about some kids being there maybe potentially 12 hours a day. What is that doing to their eyes? What is that doing to their psyche? What is that doing to their mental health? And teachers need to be understanding. And I think parents need to be wised up. How would you do a balancing act when you're defending the teachers and their ability to make sure that kids are learning, but at the same time, parents who have this concern that they're not getting their kids back? We're pushing them too hard, and it's not really necessarily good for their mental health. How would you balance that out as a school board member?
Right. And I think that we have to take into consideration the developmental levels. One thing when I was a teacher is they always told us, make sure that when you give assignments, you're taking into consideration their potential. So how much can a child do? Because a kindergartner or first grader will have a different ability than a high schooler, right? At the high school, you have kids that are taking physics classes, college classes, compared to a kindergartner that's learning how to write letters or write words, right? And so we know that the attention span is very different also. The younger kids have a less attention span and less endurance also than the older kids. And so that's why in the classroom, when you're dealing with like the elementary kids, you have a lot more hands-on activities. You have kids doing tactile activities where they get to share with other kids, they get to move around, they're not just sitting all day. So yes, teachers, they have to use those superpowers or those gifts that they have to get creative and to be able to analyze and understand how much can I give these kids and how much will they be able to accomplish.
Josh, you have another question?
Yeah, sure. Jenny, what's something about you that you feel a lot of people don't know, but you feel would help in your ability to be a great school board member? Something in your background or something that maybe you're a part of, or just whatever that people don't know about you that you think would help you in your role to be a great school board member.
Okay. Well, one of the things that I feel that makes me who I am is I'm a believer of Jesus Christ. And I have high I believe in God, and I have high moral values and integrity as a person. And the way I see life is we do what we are, whatever gifts we're given, and we do them in our job. We use them in our job to work as if we were working for God. That's one thing that I've always lived up to. And so I think that that's something that a lot of people don't know, about me. That I have my Christian faith that I really try to stick to and follow. I'm not perfect, but I try to stick to that when it comes to me making decisions that are important.
Earlier you said the opposition, and I know in smaller communities in the Valley, people go in slates. And so how is that happening in San Benito? Are there slates? Are you part of a slate? Is the opponent part of a slate? How is that working out in San Benito? Or is everybody just running on their own?
So right now you have the current board members, and they're all helping each other out, even though they may not announce it as a slate, right? But they're helping each other out with the fundraising and so forth. And on my side, I have other people that are running against those current board members that have the same values that I do and same thoughts about how the district should be run and how we can improve it. And so I think that the biggest thing is we're all about doing what's right for the employees. We're all about managing our money wisely for our taxpayers and doing what's right for our students and treating them in the right way so they can all be successful and all our community can be successful as well. And so we're independent. We're not running as a slate, but we're helping each other out. And I think that makes it that it's not a slate, like I said, but we have the same background.
That makes sense. Josh?
So, Janie, just for those who aren't familiar with the elections in San Benito right now, how many positions on the board are currently up? Like how many positions are available to be replaced?
There are 5 positions available right now.
Okay. So if the people you're running with in the opposition, so to speak, if y'all take the 5, y'all would take the majority of the board. Is that correct?
Yes. Okay. There are 4 that are new candidates and 1 board member that has supported us in the past that is up for re-election. So that makes 5 total. That board member has spoken up against them shutting down specifics on public comment. That board member spoke up when we needed help to try to see if we can remove a board member. And so that board member that's there currently, we are supporting her as well.
Oh, wow. One of the things that some school districts are having an issue with is potentially going back to school. Some school districts don't want the kids to go back to school because they want to keep them safe, especially because potentially a second wave or a third wave of coronavirus. But they don't want to lose the money from TEA. They're afraid the TA is going to say, no, you have to come back regardless because TA is being overhanded in their belief that it's already safe to go back to school. Are you willing? Are you willing to fight TA if TA says no? We're not going to give you your money. We're not, because you have the kids have to all come back to school whether they want to come back to school or not. Would you be willing to fight TA for this money?
Well, if TEA were to say we're not giving you this money, of course, we got to fight for our kids and we got to do what's right for them.
Yeah, good. What can we do to help your campaign? Not us, we are not a political action committee. We're speaking. What can people that like your message, I should say, in San Benito do to help your campaign to be successful?
Yes, so you can go to my page to elect Janie Lopez for SBCISD. place 7. You can go to my page there and like my page and share any posts that I have there, as well as those of you that live in San Benito or don't live in San Benito. If you have, people that vote in San Benito, then encourage them to vote for myself and for the others that are trying to take office, and share our posts, encourage your friends, family members to vote for us. Give them a ride if they need a ride to go vote. This is going to be an important election, not just at the national level, but for us in the school board as well.
Manny, you had another. I'm sorry. I thought you. No, keep going. Sorry about that, Janie.
Okay. And so just encouraging others to vote, giving them a ride, like I said, and if they're not registered to vote, they have until October 5th to register. So if there's anybody that needs to register, they can always send me a message through Messenger as well, and I'll help them to get with the right person to help them to register.
Manny, did you have another question? I'm sorry, I missed the private chat you asked.
No, it's okay. Yeah, mine was along the lines of what Roman was talking about. We touched on it just a little bit now. Here in Brownsville, there's a big push to the school board wants to get everybody back in the schools, and virtually everybody else does not want to go back. They'd rather stay homeschooling at least for another to the end of the semester, maybe. Was there that kind of resistance over there also? Were they? I mean, here they're really hell bent on getting everybody back into the school. Period. Did you have that kind of situation there in San Benito as well?
Here, the school board, originally they put a plan in place, and then they extended it to October, that the kids wouldn't go back to October. I know that they're trying to extend it so the kids don't go back till November. And so I think that in the school district, they're pretty much united in that area.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't read up too much on Brownsville, what's going on, but
don't worry about San Benito. No worries. You have this is my question. It's not my question. It's a Kiwaya question. I always say this every show. Is there anything that we didn't ask you that you feel passionately about that you want to answer for yourself or you want to talk about as we end our hour with you?
Okay, and so I just, I humbly ask for people to consider voting for myself as well as for my other colleagues, because we're trying to do what's right for our community, and we just want what's best for everybody. We want to take care of our staff, students, and community members. As board members, it's important to be able to address any finance situations and be clear and transparent to taxpayers as to how money is being used. We need to make sure that the operations are running smoothly as well. And right now there's departments that are concerned that they might lose their jobs because they're bringing in outsourcing companies. And there's a lot of changes that are taking place in the district. Making sure that our superintendent is held accountable also for the work that he's doing, and that we as board members stick together and we work for what is best and not for what we individually want. Yes, everybody has differences of opinions. We can agree to disagree and take votes, and but that doesn't mean that we have to be anybody's puppet either. We have to be individuals and do what we think is best for the district as well. And as a person with humble beginnings, my parents were low-level employees, you would say. My mom worked at Levi's, my dad worked as a mechanic, and I learned the value of working hard. I learned that if we work hard, we can succeed. And that's what I want to do for the district. I will work hard for you so that together we can all succeed and we can make a difference for our kids. I mean, my passion, my dream is that these kids are recognized at national levels. I know in the past with the chess tournaments and so forth, our kids have gone to nationals, recently with cutting and funding and so forth. And then with the coronavirus, some of those things didn't happen. But my dream is to see our kids up at national levels, making a difference, whether national or worldwide. That's what I want for our kids. I want for our kids to be able to not have any limitations. I want them to know that we will support them in their adventures in the education field so that they can be successful.
Thank you so much, Janie, for joining us. Give me a second. I need to make a quick plug. A couple of things. One, this is we as a community page, I guess. We like to promote one particular business. And all week we're promoting this particular business. They were vandalized on Sunday. They're in Harlingen, New York Delhi. And so we're asking any of you that are watching the show, anybody that please support New York Delhi. They were victims of thuggish. Yes, Brandon, it is all about the children. They were brutish. They were vandalized by thugs in the middle of the night. So if you are in McAllen or the Upper Valley, please go to New York Delhi in McAllen, or there in Brownsville, San Benito. You can go to the New York Delhi there in Harlingen, or in the Mid Valley, New York Delhi in Westaco, or in Brownsville, New York Delhi here in Brownsville. They're all owned by the same family. It's a small business. It's what it is. It's locally owned here in the Valley. They're not a chain, like a national chain or anything. So please support their business. Again, New York Delhi in McAllen, Westaco, Harlingen, or Brownsville. My favorite is the number 7 hot, which is like half salami, half ham with a little bit of coleslaw, which is really good, and Russian dressing on a French roast. Awesome. Tonight, we have our edition of Real Talk, Real Late. Real Talk, Real Late is at 10:30. It is a group of people randomly that are friends. Myself, I may or may not be on the show. Manny's going to definitely be on the show. Josh, maybe. A few of the Rio crew, RioPolitics crew, will be on there to talk about random stuff. Anything that's happening in national politics and even local politics we'll be talking about. Again, that's Real Talk, Real Late. No holds barred. People will be let loose. Some people may actually be drinking an alcoholic beverage. You never know. Or water. And tomorrow, our special guest will be, today we had a San Benito CISD trustee candidate. Tomorrow we will have Erasmo Castro, who is running for school board in Brownsville, and he will be our guest tomorrow at 7:30. So please share our page, please. We want to give everybody an opportunity. So if you have a candidate, a friend who is an office holder that wants to get their message out, feel free to contact Manny. You can either message the RioPolitics Facebook page or find Manny Fossil on Facebook, and you can message him, and we will get you on. Janie, you are more than welcome to come back anytime you want. You want to during October, you want to come on, let us know. You are a great guest. So thank you so much, Janie. You're very active. Yeah. So anytime you want to come back in October, you come back in October.
All right. Thank you.
Right,
Thank you so much.
Josh, sorry, the other announcement. Josh, what do y'all have on tour in Cameron County Republic at Cameron County Conservative Facebook page? What is it? What do y'all have doing?
We're going to be in Los Fresnos this weekend for a rally on Saturday. It'll be starting around 11:30. However, if you want to be a part of the Trump train, we're going to have 2 stops on it. It's going to be starting in Harlingen. I believe they're starting at, hold on just a second. They're going to be starting at, believe, around 10. I'll double check that, and if I need to correct, I'll correct tomorrow night. And then they're going to be stopping closer towards Highway 100, just south of San Benito, at the in Our Father's House / U.S. Shell location. So if you want details that are better, go to our Cameron County's Facebook page and ask to be a member, and all the details will be on there, or look for the public event page.
That Trump train is growing by the week, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
You said the Republican what?
The Cameron County
Conservative.
the Cameron County Conservative Facebook page.
Okay. Yeah, because I wasn't sure which group you're talking about, because I had no idea. Thank you, Janie, again. You have anything else you want to say? Did you feel comfortable? Was this an okay interview for you? You liked it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do it again?
I'm not used to public speaking, and I would get really nervous, but y'all made this really enjoyable, and I felt really comfortable on your show. So thank you so much for this opportunity. I appreciate you all.
Yeah, you're very welcome. We're not here to like stump anybody. We're not here to put pressure on anybody. We want you. The community deserves to have answers from you, and you deserve an opportunity to get your message out. So God bless you. God bless you all. Thanks for joining in. This is Real Politics Live. We don't make the news. We only help you see it. Thank you. God bless. Bye.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Monday.
everybody.
Bye
Stay
bye.
with us, Janie. Stay with us,
Stay
Janie.
on.